Hello everyone. Now the major point of discussion in India is the foreign trade, and after America's President Donald Trump announced to impose 50% tariff on all the Indian exports, there is a major discussion going on in India how Indian trade is going to be affected, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that India is ready to pay any price, but India will not compromise the interest of the farmers and the small scale producers. So that reflects India's stance that how India is working to protect the interest of the farmers. And so in that context, we should also know what all products, especially agriculture products, are exported to the world, and what is the destination, where are we exporting, what are commodities are exporting, and are we already facing some trade barriers in different countries, and how President Trump's change in policy or higher tariff is going to impact our trade. We are going to discuss all those issues. And today I have a special guest, Dr. Subhangi Rath. Dr. Subhangi Rath is an agriculture economist. She did her PhD from Odisha University of Agriculture and Technology, Bhubaneswar, OUAT, and currently she is a fellow at ICRIAR, New Delhi.
Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations.
And she is already working on these issues. So we will be listening to her the trade issues related to agriculture products. So Dr. Subhangi, welcome to this discussion.
Thank you so much.
And so first of all, we should know the India's agriculture export landscape, and we are going to know what is the current scale of India's agriculture export and how important are they to Indian economy.
So a very good morning to everyone, and well, thank you so much, sir, for getting me here. When we are talking about exports, especially in terms of Indian context, agriculture holds a very significant position in our exports. The current scale in the recent years has been the last year it was around 51 billion US dollars, and India is ranking 14th in the global agricultural exports. And if we talk about the major commodities, all of us know that rice, especially basmati rice, is one of the majorly exported commodities, and along with that we have shrimps, we have bovine meat, we have castor oil. We also have some other oil seeds like groundnuts and some fruits like grapes, which constitute the export basket.
And onion also, Maharashtra
of course,
exports quite a lot of
onions are also there. Apart from that, we also have cucumbers, gherkins, which are processed products. So we have a variety of commodities starting from fruits, vegetables, cereals, and processed products, and different types of agricultural and allied products, including meat and marine products, which we sell outside.
So if we see the share, like what all products that will have the maximum share in this agriculture export basket?
So rice, followed by shrimp, bovine meat, and it's also castor oil. That is also.
I think, to my knowledge, Odisha is a major exporter of shrimp.
Andhra Pradesh and Odisha.
Yes. Because that is also the discussion point. Yes. Odisha may be affected because of the shrimp export that we are doing to already USA.
Yes.
And so what are the major export market? Where do we export all these products? So we discussed past the commodity, but where are we exporting? What are the countries there?
So of course, since we are talking about USA is one of the major markets. But if we see other markets, then yes, the markets are high where the Indian diaspora is high. So if we see the trend of agricultural exports, then we can very clearly tell that wherever Indian diaspora is high, our exports are higher in those areas. So
because they will be demanding craving for Indian products. Right?
And so we have UAE, we have Saudi Arabia. In fact, we also send to ASEAN countries, Indonesia, Vietnam. If we talk about meat and rice, especially, ASEAN is a very big market. And Africa is also a very good market. Recently, if we see, the trend has shifted in case of bovine meat. After the COVID, Egypt started importing around 63% of its bovine meat from India.
Oh, okay.
So, like previously, Brazil was its largest exporter for bovine meat, but then India pitched in, and now India is exporting to Egypt. So, even Africa is a good market now.
Okay, okay. So yeah, so whenever you export a product, the product has to be really competitive, right? So
Yes.
how do you see these Indian agriculture products vis-a-vis other countries' agriculture exports?
Yes,
Are they really
so
competitive?
well, India is competitive because, like, if we go into the analytical aspect, if we see the unit value price, the UVP, then India's UVP in most of the agricultural products is quite low. So it makes it price competitive. And even in case the RCA, the revealed comparative advantage in many of the products is more than one, which also says that yes, India is competitive. Like if I tell in case of pickles and sauces, in case of some fruits and vegetables. But then the problem is that, in many of the countries, our agricultural products don't comply to the SPS
Okay.
standards.
That is
So,
sanitary and phytosanitary
yes,
conditions.
sanitary and phytosanitary
Yeah,
conditions.
in fact, the audience should be knowing this. Recently, we had exported, I think, two ships of mangoes to USA, and because of the condition of sanitary and phytosanitary conditions, those mangoes had to be disposed there. But those mangoes could not be returned because it's quite expensive to bring back a ship, and then it was not allowed to enter into also to enter into USA, so it had to be disposed at the port. And the reason is this, so it has to be hygienic, and there are of course actually different ways you can do this treatment, like no nuclear irradiation technology is available, it can be done, but you need proper certification, so that we may discuss in some other context.
Yes.
And so are there any emerging commodities that are coming that may actually go to that may emerge from India, and that would be gaining attraction internationally,
Yes, definitely. So I think we
such
have
as
always,
organic products? Yeah.
yeah. So we have always been focusing on the primary products, be it rice, the fruits and vegetables. But then the current trend in the global market is quite different. Based on the interest. So the shift should there should be a shift in the focus from the Indian diaspora to the local community. What the local community in that particular country wants.
The natives,
The
natives of
yeah.
America.
So, one way that we can capture those markets is that, the processed food products or the organic products, or, India has a lot of GI tag products. That's a
Right.
good way to market our Indian agricultural commodities. Because you see that rather than sending mangoes, it's always better that you value add the mangoes. You send mango pulps, mango juices, same with, oranges.
Yes.
Because we are not competitive in oranges. But then there is a huge demand for fresh orange juice and orange pulps, jams, jellies in the foreign market. So, and apart from that, a very big product now is cereal preparations.
Right, millet.
Yeah, we can have millets there. We have sweet biscuits, we have malts, we have cornflakes, and we have a variety of products like rusks, which are in high demand in the foreign market. So those are, and of course, we have good relations with the Middle East, and if we see countries like Oman and Kuwait, they have a good demand for sweet biscuits as well.
Okay.
So that's where I think India could pitch in, because rather than focusing on the basic commodities, some value addition or processing can help gain traction.
You're telling in some other countries that India exports quite a lot of honey to foreign markets, right?
Yes.
So can you tell something? Because I was thinking like honey is a very small production that is happening, right? We do produce quite a lot or less. I don't think actually Indians use a lot of honey. We use mostly for medicinal purposes, right? But you were telling we export quite a lot of honey. Could you explain
Yes.
on that?
So basically, India is the third largest exporter of honey in the world. India exports the maximum honey to USA.
To USA. Okay.
So
that means
82% of Indian honey goes to USA.
USA. Okay.
Yeah. So here there is a, I'll tell a loophole, because when I talked to the experts that time, they said that Indians consume only 37 grams of honey per capita per year. But there is a huge demand in the global market, because people in the West consume around 1 to 2 kg of honey.
Oh.
per capita per year. And again, the local prices for honey are very high. It's around rupees 300 per kg.
Per kg, yes.
But then in the global market, it is sold at only rupees 120 per kg. So farmer, like the Indian, excuse me. So people in India, they are not very much, prone to consume honey. One reason being the issue of affordability. But then that's the reason that farmers and the exporters prefer to send it outside. One, because the demand is high. Second, because people can afford at that price which is sold in the international market.
But technically, this will be considered as dumping. In fact, you are selling honey at a higher price in domestic market and selling it at a lower price in foreign market. But of course,
But
it depends upon the consuming country,
yes.
whether they are considering this as dumping or not.
One reason for that, as I told, that the consumption in India is quite less.
Quite less, yes.
Yes.
So then
So
there
that's
is a
only
genuine
for the-
reason why we
yes.
should export this. Okay. So now we'll come to the major issue. Now Trump has announced 50% tariff on Indian products, and it is also discussed that in fact, India and America were having rounds of discussion, trade negotiations, and it is said that the major difference of opinion was on agriculture market, and India is not ready to open up the agriculture market to USA. What are the specifics of President Trump's new tariff policy on Indian agriculture exports? Could you elaborate?
Yeah, so initially, as we all know, the tariff imposed was around 25%, right? And India was expecting somewhere between 10 to 15% as it's imposed on EU, the UK, and other South Korea and other countries. But then, yes, it was a bit unexpected that we faced a tariff of 25%, and just last week it was increased to 50%. So we have a window of 21 days,
21 days.
where trade negotiations can go on, and probably, I mean, we're not much hopeful, I would say, to
But now
reduce
Trump has
it.
said no negotiation any further.
Yes,
right?
so we are
Yes.
not much hopeful that it's going to come back to our expectation of 10 to 15%. But yes, definitely there are some high value products where tariff has not been announced. And yes, honey is one of them.
Okay.
Honey is one of them.
Oh,
where
there is no tariff?
No, they have not announced it yet.
Okay.
How much is the duty for that? So I think the best way to go about is right now to focus on what are the steps India could take at this stage and how India could recover the shock. Because if we see about the global growth, of agriculture, or the expected growth in the next year, it was expected to be somewhere, according to RBI, it was expected to be somewhere around 6.5%. But given this tariff, it could hover somewhere around 6.2 to 6.3%.
Right.
It's not a very big thing for India to recover, but then if we talk about agriculture, yes, of course it's going to give a big blow to the farmers, and we need to see how well we could diversify our products and see which window we should open up in order to face this kind of a tariff.
Could you tell the audience, like, what are the specific products that are going to be affected, particularly agriculture products, because of the 50% tariff? Because you told honey is not in the list, right?
Yes.
So
of course, yeah, rice.
yes,
Rice is one.
Rice is going to be affected.
Yes, rice is going to be affected. The food preparations are going to be affected, and we don't send much of bovine meat, but of course shrimps. Shrimps are going to be the most affected because we are sending marine products hugely to USA. So that's where, as you already said, that yes, Odisha is going to be affected.
Yes. So then the solution would be either you find an alternative market, because I'm sure there would be a lot of demand for these products elsewhere. So immediately, of course, it will take some time probably, but we need to find out alternate markets, or we find a market within the country. In fact, so for example, the best varieties of tiger prawn that are exported are not available in Indian market. So if we can consume all of that, then also that would be good. So, but definitely some farmers or the exporters who are involved in it, they are going to be affected. Okay. So how are Indian farmers and exporters reacting to this increased tariff? Do you have any idea how? our exporters are preparing for this tariff?
Yes, of course, the farmers of Punjab and Haryana, because they are the most powerful farmers of our
Yes.
country. They are really concerned about, what's going to be the future, because it's not only rice, but tea, coffee, spices, and all other products like vegetables and oilseeds, everything is affected. And, when it comes to the farmers' income and, the producers and manufacturers of India, they are, of course, very much worried about, what's going to be their future, and especially how to recover the cost. Because the cost of logistics, the testing and everything is already quite high,
Right.
and we need a hand holding there, so that they gain the right amount of profit. But then, given this kind of a tariff structure, they are the ones who are going to be the most affected, and of course they are also worried about what steps India is going to take in order to protect their produce, and not let it go into waste.
Okay. So, one of the major solutions that people discuss to say combat the effect of this US tariff is to diversify the export destinations.
Yeah.
And even recently, we had a trade negotiation with UK. We signed a free trade agreement with the US, sorry, UK, and I think 95% is about, I think 95% of products are now exempted from major tariffs. So, can you tell us like what could be the alternative, say export destination for our agriculture products?
Well, the best destination would be the Middle East.
Middle East, okay.
And because we are already sending a lot to Middle East,
Middle East, yes.
and I'll tell about some of the products where we can again get, revive the traction in those products. One is eggs. People don't talk about eggs a lot these days.
So, we are exporting quite a lot of eggs.
We were exporting quite a lot of eggs to Oman and
Okay.
other Middle Eastern countries, Bahrain, Qatar, and others. After the avian influenza in 2008, the exports have dwindled quite a lot. And now we face a severe competition from countries like Turkey and Iran. But then the good thing about Indian eggs is it's much more nutritious and the production is quite high. Okay, we have a hub in Tamil Nadu, that's Namakkal, where I've even talked to those exporters and they are self-sufficient. They are telling that we are ready to export, but we are not getting those markets there in the Middle East. So I think if we can market our eggs in the right way, that yes, now it's
These are
avian
safe.
yes, they are free from avian influenza and they are abiding to the OIE standards of World Organization for Animal Health.
So, a certification is required.
Yes,
when we are
those
exporting.
certification and cluster development. So this disease-free clusters, if we can do, I think Middle East is a very good market where we are already sending products and we can send more products there. Another market is the ASEAN region, this Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Singapore. So Malaysia and Singapore could be the right destination for high value products.
Okay.
And of course, we are sending quite a lot to Africa as well. We need to gain market in South Africa particularly, because we are already sending a lot to Egypt and other African countries. So we need to send more to South Africa and Nigeria, all those some well developed countries in the African region.
Yeah, in fact, BRICS nations, although India has already targeted the BRICS market, and recently Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already visited BRICS countries and tried to develop very good contact. And even Africa is more important because for the audience, we should know that all other continents are already facing a slowdown in the population growth. It is only the African continent which is having the highest population growth in 21st century. So wherever there are people, there will be a market, and that way Africa has a lot of population, and also their per capita income is also growing rapidly. So they can be a major consumer, and they also need Indian products. So I think we should really work hard to facilitate these trades with those countries. Okay, so then going towards the end, so could Trump's tariff regime trigger a broader shift in global agriculture trade? That means whether now Americans will buy products from other countries, or will like Indians export it to other countries. So how is it going to change the agriculture trade?
Well, of course, one good thing about this is the diversification of the market.
Yes.
I think if we can talk in the perspective of India, then yes, it's going to bring a global shift,
Yes.
and that's the only way out. So, of course, USA is targeting other markets for its imports, but then if we consider India, then I think India could have an opportunity to open up its export for, and also target other countries like the EU, the CIS. These are the countries where we are currently sending some products. Like if we are talking about EU, then we do send grapes. Now EU has a very stringent SPS standard, but then if we are able to send some products, that means yes, India has that capability that it can tap the market in other commodities as well. Then a very big market is Russia and other CIS countries.
Yes.
We are currently sending these pickled cucumbers called gherkins there,
Yes.
and around 93% of India's gherkin exports goes to the Russia.
Okay.
And Russia is also a big market for coffee. So if we can open up those markets, if we can negotiate some trade routes, because one of the major problems for Russia and CIS countries is the trade routes right now. We don't have that problem for EU, which is a good thing. And our exports go to the Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Okay. So that is where I think these are the markets where India could really look into, and it could bring a very big global shift, because if we can diversify our markets to EU and Russia, then I think it's going to be a win-win for both the regions.
Yes. And okay, so now there is a lot of pessimism between USA and India, although everything was like going well until very recently. In fact, the photo that came in media is that Donald Trump adjusting chair for Narendra Modi. So that was reflecting the good relationship between USA and India, and howdy Modi, right, event. So all those things were reflecting a shift in the friendship between India and USA. But in last few months, things have changed. Are there any areas where India and USA could still collaborate in agriculture, or such as technology exchange and joint research and mutual market access?
Yes, definitely there are, because as I've already told, there are high value commodities where the tariff has not been imposed, right? So one is the R&D, where
Yes.
the joint research, I mean, that would be really good, because investing in the crop genetics, developing GM crops, or even the disease control, the water regulation, the sustainability part, and how well we can develop a resilient agri-food system. I think that is where India and the US could collaborate, and we have different kinds of farming system, like the climate smart farming and the supply chain digitization. These are some of the new areas where there can be a technology transfer between the two regions, and that could probably I wouldn't say nullify, but definitely this could help both the regions come to a point where
So it's not that everything is closed, all doors are closed. So there are some doors open.
Yes.
Where you can still continue our relationship, and in fact every crisis teaches us big lessons.
And this is the right point where India could actually send some of the high value products to USA.
To USA. Okay.
Rather than just focusing on the basic commodities, as I've already told, this is the opportunity for India, where India could, as we already talked about, these organic food and GI tagged, commodities, and some very high value crops or food items, where USA could be a niche market. So that's where India could pitch in.
And also we should diversify our market, because if say President Trump tries to dictate the terms, I don't think actually India as a rising nation and a sovereign nation should listen to or surrender to those conditions. So India should definitely diversify the market, and I'm sure in short time span India can really come back with huge vigor. So thank you so much, Dr. Subhangi, for having your time with us.
Thank you so much.